pretty much there, I think. Okay.
Okay, great. Well, I guess we do have a quorum, so we can start the meeting now. And did we have anything extra on the agenda, or is that it, Sarah?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, does someone want to move approval of the agenda? Oh, okay, Betty, and second, Richard D. Okay, and did anyone have a chance to read the minutes? Everyone okay with them? Lots of nodding. Okay. Sorry? Somebody said something?
Oh, I think it's background noise. I'm still at work.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, does someone want to move acceptance of the minutes? That would be Brenda. And Richard, you. Second. Okay, and I think we don't have any guests that I can see, so we just have the referral from Daniel. If you want to take it on, John.
Thank you. I will take it over. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what I have is a referral from council for changes to our building bylaw. So change from our normal land use bylaw changes. And this came out of a project we're doing to review our building bylaw. We sort of have an ongoing list of things that we want to review in our building bylaw, but one of them we thought could do with more discussion at the APC level as the most appropriate committee, and that's regarding regulations we have in our building bylaw about fences around swimming pools. So by way of background, our building bylaw defines a swimming pool, and then it says a swimming pool, including a spa or a hot tub, must be enclosed with a fence constructed without footholds or grips, having a minimum height of 1.22 meters and no openings greater than 10 millimeters at their greatest dimension. So the key piece being, it's saying a swimming pool must be enclosed within a fence. All right, and so what we've seen over the past probably 18 months, we've had some pushback from applicants saying that how we are, either how our bylaw reads or how we are interpreting it is different than what they have encountered in other jurisdictions. And so we sort of did the review. We've done a scan that I'll go over, but just to show, what some of those options are in terms of how we are treating fencing around swimming pools and how other jurisdictions will approach it. So in the report, we've shown sort of 4 different options of fencing around swimming pools and what is permitted in different jurisdictions. So this being that first option, this is sort of the classic, right? The fence shown here is enclosing the swimming pool sort of immediately around the pool. And this is what sort of our bylaw is pointing towards. The pool is enclosed by a fence. The second option that some jurisdictions allow, and we say our jurisdiction, our building bylaw does not, is you fence to the wall of a building. So a blank wall with no openings, but you use that as part of your fencing around a swimming pool. And some bylaws specifically say, well, that's okay. You can do that. The house can be part of the fence, or a building can be part of the fence if there's no openings in the building. And then the third option is you enclose to the house, whether or not there are doors from the house. And some jurisdictions allow this, but they have sort of stipulations that your doors need to be closing. And some just allow it, like you can enclose your fence to the house. And then the fourth option is you enclose your entire property and you say, I have enclosed my swimming pool with a fence, and the house happens to be inside the fence, but essentially I've fenced my property line. And that one we read is potentially being permitted in our building bylaw because you've enclosed your pool in a fence. Some bylaws stipulate that you need to enclose like the pool area in the fence, and they'll define what that is and break it down a little more, and kind of saying they want the immediate surrounding of the pool fence, but ours doesn't say that. And so we reached out to a number of jurisdictions, and the ones that replied, we're interested in terms of what they allow, and it does look like we are more restrictive in terms of not allowing that fencing to the residents, and it's allowed in some jurisdictions and not others. And we included in there as well a link to the BC pool guidelines that aren't necessarily for residential pools, but they're just a document the provincial government has put out around guidelines around pools. And so that was what I wanted to just present and have the discussion, and then see if the APC has recommendations about how we should be treating swimming pools and fencing around them. So I'll stop sharing there and pass it back to you, Kirsty, for discussion.
Okay, does anyone want to make some comments? Okay, Richard D.
Yeah, I mean, I think firstly, I think I come from a background where bylaws are very succinct. You know, where this bylaw is really just a one paragraph, and the other thing about I guess when I read this bylaw, what I feel about it is it's got the same problem as the dock bylaw. It's so specific. It has so many conditions that it's very hard to work with. So, you know, I think one of the suggestions I'd make, and I don't know if you know, this would be supported, would be to make the bylaw more general so that it allows for a lot more interpretation. And you know, Daniel, I don't know how you feel about interpretation. I said in the report it says we're trying to be consistent for everybody, but there is an advantage to being very general, because it allows, if somebody has a reasonable approach, then you can on a case-by-case basis say that's okay. If someone maybe meets the intent of the bylaw, but you know, it's totally, well, doesn't meet the intent, but you can maybe also say, you can also be more strict about something that you don't like, you know, that really looks dangerous. You know, one of the things that I think, you know, comes up with this discussion is when the doors of the house open onto the pool enclosure directly, then, you know, is it a danger to the residents? And you have to then consider, well, what's the intent? What's the background legal rationale for this bylaw? Is it to protect truant neighbors' kids from coming in and you know, having an accident in the pool? Or is the bylaw intended to be a sort of nursemaid bylaw for everybody, for the neighbors' kids as well as your own kids, as well as your visitors? So I think, you know, I think a lot of things about this bylaw. I think, you know, firstly, it's too complicated. Firstly, and secondly, it's not necessarily good to it's too complicated and too specific. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's often much better to be general. And thirdly, you know, we've got to know what the intent of the legal requirement is. Whether, yeah. So those would be my opening comments. But I have a lot more in a way. So I'll let other people go now. Said enough.
And just by way of context, like in terms of where these regulations came from, like I think in my report, I have what's in our current bylaw, and then I have what was in our previous building bylaw. And I would say like both of our current building bylaw and our previous bylaw are essentially the model bylaw from MIABC, which is the Municipal Insurance Agency of British Columbia, puts out model building bylaws. And ours is essentially the model building bylaw for small towns. They put out like a small community model bylaw and a large, I forget what they call it, but anyways, that's essentially what ours is. So, I mean, you're right. Like the genesis of their bylaws is like, how do we remove liability from the municipality? And that's like the overriding concern from it. I remember going to a session once with MIABC about giving like bylaw interpretations to people who ask. Like if somebody asks, like, what can I build on my property? And they're saying, what advice should planners give? And the MIABC advice was like, never tell them anything, just hand them the bylaw and say it's up to you to read the bylaw. And I mean, every municipality does more than that, but that's sort of their approach, is like how to make sure that municipalities are never liable.
Richard, you?
I just wanted to make some comment on the different configurations that you have listed for the different municipalities, Daniel.
Yeah.
And, in looking at configuration 3 and configuration 4, I don't really understand why configuration 3 would be a no and configuration 4 would be a yes, in that there's really, to my mind, not much difference between 3 and 4. If a house has an open door and a 2-year-old wanders out the open door in configuration 3, clearly they can fall into the pool. The same holds true for configuration 4. There's no fence around the pool or a gate to go through to access the pool. So I look at all the other, well, most of the other municipalities are a yes to both configuration 3 and 4, or a no to configuration 3 and 4, I guess, is the BC pool guidelines. But yeah, I just see no real difference in practically between walking through an open door and falling in a pool. If the entire property's, fenced, or if it's just the pool area fenced to the house that has an open door. So I think that, the safest for safety of kids would be for us to be consistent and have no for configuration 4, or failing that, a yes to both, but no to configuration 4 would be a safer configuration. It's my opinion.
Anyone else? Okay, Betty, or sorry, Brenda.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to comment that if the main concern is the issue of limiting liability from municipalities, wouldn't it be safest to go with what the BC guidelines say, which would be to permit configurations 1 and 2, but not 3 and 4? If
Daniel,
that's the main objective.
Yeah, Daniel, is the BC one current or not? Like when was it updated?
It says here it's October 2021. If anybody's looked at them currently, they're like, I linked to them on the website, and it looks like the link is broken to the BC government. And I was trying yesterday to find a renewed link, and they're not there. They do say like they're not intended to be specifically for residential pools. They're guidelines for like commercial pools. So it makes it a little more challenging to figure out, what would an equivalent thing be.
Richard D, you're muted. Oh, sorry. Betty,
I want to say with respect to configurations, configuration 1 and actually the only 2 configurations that comply with the bylaw as it's written would be configurations 1 and 2, because you need a fence. A fence accessed only through a self-closing and self-latching gate. So that knocks out 3 and 4. Because number 2 would have to have a gate somewhere, right? It's not in the sketch, but it would have to have a gate, otherwise you can't access it. So only 1 and 2 actually comply with the bylaw as it's written. And so one of the problems with the bylaw is that word only. I don't know that I mean, I think it would be good to check the model MAI, but MAI bylaws,
ABC.
because you know, whether it has that only word in it, because it's the only word that really that really catches you and makes this particular version of this requirement so difficult difficult for people, so limiting, so restricting.
Betty, you had something. Sorry, I missed you here.
Yeah, I sort of fall on the side of safety, especially with kids. The one with the door opening directly on the pool from the house, I think is an interesting one. I'm thinking about like public buildings with the swimming pool in them. I think you could probably do that kind of thing with a particular kind of door in it. I think the one where you just, is that 4, where you just enclose the whole property, is ripe for an accident that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, I'd just add a comment that it assumes that these pools are gonna be all outside and separated from the house. What about a pool that's
Indoor.
half in the house and half out? What's about an indoor pool? Like, you know, I think that, you know, Richard's D's original comments that it doesn't allow any flexibility is kind of good. Like those, if those are examples, yes, but there's going to be other kind of pools that are going to be different. And so it's like, maybe the bylaw should suggest something that is, keep safety in mind. And here are some examples, as opposed to these are the only examples. Richard,
I'm gonna just post a link to the MIABC model bylaw, and it does seem like ours are word for word the same, like that pool gate section and fencing.
Yeah. Richard, you?
I was just going to say further to your point, Kirsty, is there was some discussion or mention of an infinity pool. And I was trying to think, well, you know, how would you fence around an infinity pool if, you know, the infinity portion of the pool is, I don't know, over a bluff or overlooking the ocean, and there was no real way to access the pool from the side. Yeah, I don't think the bylaw addresses that.
We made people fence below the infinity pool edge.
Even if it's not on their property?
I mean, this was on their property. I mean, I think regardless, I think there would be like building code concerns with infinity pool on a cliff edge. I know Richard D shared with me like a building code interpretation where, again, they infinity pool edge, and they required them to fence sort of below the edge because of concern of that falling risk. So they didn't have to fence like on the top of the infinity pool edge, but lower down.
Okay.
It seems insanity. If you can't get to the pool, why would you need to fence it? But that's,
well, in those cases, I mean, that one was specific to like falling risk as opposed to climbing in and drowning risk.
Falling out of the pool,
yeah,
falling in.
Yeah, pool's just dangerous in general. You fall out or you fall in, either bad.
anyway, okay, Richard D, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry to monopolize this, but yeah, my point was, you know, it's possible this has become an issue for Daniel because, you know, the building inspector is having difficulties with the building code for infinity pools. It's not that infinity pools don't need to be fenced and secure for safety reasons. As any other pool, but when you have an infinity pool, you don't want, you know, you're often on the edge of a cliff, so that if you climb onto the edge of the pool, then, you know, there's a risk of falling 100 feet down onto the cliff. But people don't want to guard on the edge of their infinity pool. So, you know, the thing about the infinity pool, I think, is really a building code issue that is not is not really relevant to this committee.
Yeah.
You know, we can't comment on that.
But like, no, but I mean, our specific issue we had was like 3 different applicants wanting to do configuration 3.
Or an infinity pool.
No,
No, one was both. Like, it was essentially wanting to do configuration 3 where they enclose to the house, but then have an infinity pool edge. And they were more okay with having a fence below the infinity pool edge because they had space on their property. They could bring a fence around and do it. And it's like that. Essentially people wanting patio doors to open onto the pool. And some of them had designed the pool, like they're quite space constrained. So it's like having to go patio door to gate to pool was a challenge for them. I think some of them were like 6 feet from the building edge.
But if that patio door is left open and a child wanders through it, they have direct access to the pool.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially our argument. Was we're saying, well, you know, you may not be worried about it, but what about if visitors come, or you, whatever else it may be? And more overriding for us was the fact that our bylaw is pretty clear that it wants you to enclose it, and so we as staff are not comfortable. We're not entertaining an alternative solution to what the bylaw pretty clearly dictates. Versus if it's like a council policy decision to say, well, you know, it's people's own risk, I guess.
I think that you put too many rules in place and then they just prop the gates open. Brenda.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it seems like, you know, if a homeowner is going to have a pool, the homeowner is the one that's going to be responsible for watching over the pool, making sure that kids that come to the home are going to be safe around the pool. And, you know, the homeowner is presumably going to be aware of, you know, an opening door and kids being able to go out through that door. So I mean, personally, I think I don't have a problem with 1, 2, or 3. I think the configuration that is problematic is the one where the fence is around the entire property and the gate is going to be accessible. Like very few people, some do, but very few people lock the gates to their property because they want courier drivers to be able to get in and, you know, Amazon Prime to be able to get delivered, etc. That's the one that I think is more problematic. So, you know, if you look at it from that perspective, to me, I don't really have an issue with designs 1 through 3. And full disclaimer, I grew up with a sliding glass door out of my bedroom onto a pool. And I never thought it was unsafe, but that's just me. I think that the homeowner has to take responsibility if there's access from their home out to the pool.
Richard D.
I'm fully with Brenda, except I might be more liberal. I'm taking, I see that only is in the model bylaw, the word only, but you know, again, you know, I think actually maybe only is a good thing, but you know, you could have a gate to your fence, to the fence around your property that has a latch. Because I don't think, is this wording in the bylaw? I don't think so. To cause the latch to return to a closed position when not in use, with the latch located on the pool side of the gate. And then the model bylaw also has another exemption for hot tubs that we don't seem to have.
We have that one too. The spa or hot tub may be covered with a locking cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I didn't include it in the report.
Okay, it's not in the report.
13.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm more in. I'm with Brenda, but even wanting to be more
Flexible.
You're muted again, Richard.
Richard, you're being muted.
Always. Yeah.
Okay, we seem to be sort of talking a bit in circles. I didn't think this was gonna take more than 5 minutes, but does anyone have some suggestions of what our feedback? I guess Brenda and
Yeah.
Richard are sort of more flexible. Do we have a do we have a problem with any of the four?
You want to see that yet?
Sure. Well, maybe not sure. Like, is there anything that we all agree on, or shall I just ask some questions? Is there big problems with the four examples that Daniel put in the
Well, I think, Kirsty, that we haven't spoken specifically about configuration number 2. And personally, I don't see any reason to not allow configuration number 2, whereas our current bylaw does not allow for the blank wall of a house to act as a fence. So
yeah.
a wall without any openings, I just don't see where it would make any sense to run a fence parallel to
No.
that wall.
Sorry, I just assumed that was non-controversial. I agree.
Okay.
So one, is everyone okay with one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay with 2?
Maybe ask if anybody's opposed, because I think we're-
Okay. Anybody opposed to 3?
I'm opposed to 3.
Okay, and then we'll just, what about 4?
I'm opposed to 4.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
opposed to 4 as well.
Okay, so, I guess I'm with, Richard D, and I'm fine with them all, but, do we? John, can you show the pictures again?
I think I have to say that only 1 and 2 comply with the bylaw as it's written now. If you take out that word only, then you could include 3 and 4 as well.
I think just we said 2 does not comply with our bylaw because it encloses to a house and not a fence.
2 agree, yeah.
Like for 2 to comply, yeah, you'd have to fence in front of the wall of the house. Okay, so this is number 1, where you've fenced around the pool. Number 2, you fenced to the blank wall of the house.
Yeah.
Number 3, you fence to the wall of the house that includes a door. And 4 is you fence the property line enclosing the residence and the pool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
That one seems too risky to me. Seems to be too vulnerable to people being able to get in. That's
Which
just
one,
me.
Brenda?
Number 4.
Yeah.
even with the restriction of the gate that has to be, automatic close?
Yeah, like, I don't know about you, but I've gone over to lots of friends' homes, reached over the fence, opened their gate that opens on the other side and let myself in.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's not
but
hard
this, isn't this a prevention of children? Safety for children?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So as long as it's tall, as they require. Anyway, Richard, you?
We're talking as though there's only one gate in the perimeter of the property. And for example, I'm on about 0.7 of an acre, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 gates around the perimeter of my property. I would have to make sure that each and every one of those gates were properly latched. So yeah, it's not just one gate. I think it is a safety issue.
But the requirement for the building code would be that each of those gates would have the proper latch, or they wouldn't be able to, they'd have to change the fence configuration. Isn't that right, Daniel?
That's what the bylaw requires, is that self-closing, self-latching gate.
Whether it's 1 or 5 gates?
Yeah.
Only through a self-closing, self-latching gate or constructed.
But the homeowner has to make sure that each and every one of those gates is kept in, working order, and yeah, there's a greater risk.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
think that the primary liability resides with the homeowner.
Mhm.
But if you're the parent of a child who's going to be disabled for the rest of their life, speaking as a lawyer, you sue everybody that you think contributed to the negligence that caused the disability of your child. So, again, focusing on limiting liability, to me, having an exterior access and kids being kids, I know that I was pretty ingenious if I wanted to reach something that I couldn't reach. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm going to stick with, I don't agree with configuration 4 if that's what our purpose is here, is to limit liability for the municipality.
Okay, does someone want to,
I mean,
okay, Daniel,
I was going to suggest, Christy, if the APC wants as a way to approach this, is essentially split the motion and have the APC vote on the 4 configurations. And then we would bring that to council and say, these ones were unanimously supported and these were opposed. And so they failed. And so then council sees like the full range of your discussion.
that sounds like a good
Yeah,
way
it's a good
forward.
idea.
Yeah, and are we all comfortable with the initial wording of the bylaw?
Yeah, I like that.
Everyone's okay? Okay,
Well, if the initial wording of the bylaw allows for configuration 4, then no.
So maybe it says that the APC recommend council, include or just ensure that building bylaw regulations of swimming pool fencing permits configuration or something that's neutral, that doesn't comment on whether we allow it now or not. But it's just saying we think configuration 1 should be allowed, and we think configuration 2 should be allowed, and then vote on the individual questions.
So can we say that I don't think it's the wording. I think the wording was fine.
Okay.
So I think where the detail here is if we can agree on 1, 2, I think we have to agree unanimously
yeah,
for this portion of our what we say tonight about what the bylaw should say.
so we agree unanimously on 1 and 2, then we can just put that 1 and 2 in there, and then
Yeah. Exactly.
get rid of 3 and 4.
Well, 3 and 4 can be dealt with. We'll have to say it a little bit differently, what our vote was on
Yeah.
that.
And that, so then the committee was divided on configurations 3 and 4.
Well, how divided are we? I think
3 and 4 with
With the-
X number voting in favor
Favor.
of 3 and X number voting in favor of 4. Would that be a good way to say it?
I think that's what, Daniel, does that work for you taking
Yeah.
that account? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so now we need to know who is in favor of 3.
Do you want me to stop
Yeah.
sharing so that we can see
Yeah,
everybody at
yeah.
once? Yeah, one sec.
Okay. Okay, oops,
Okay.
I'm in favor of 3.
just a second.
I'm in favor of 3, but the wording of the bylaw doesn't allow 3.
Yeah, but okay, fair enough. But let's just find out who's in favor right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, Betty, 3,
Yes.
Richard, you? No,
No.
Richard D. Okay, so then I'm in favor, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor of 3, 1 against. And, number 4,
I'm okay with 4.
and I'm okay with 4, and Betty, Richard, you, and Brenda, no. Okay. So
Correct.
that 3 in favor, 2 against.
There's
And
yeah,
do
so
we
there's
want?
4
Sorry?
in favor of 3 and 2 in favor of 4 is what I have. It's
Okay,
confusing.
Mhm.
is it? Oh, okay,
Just lots of 3s and 4s.
okay, and do we want to make any comments if, about that, or are we comfortable with just leaving it like that? I am, but
We could say that our
We
recommendations
see,
are in
can we
line.
see what we've got?
Uh,
So,
what did I type?
So-
Hang on, sorry. With X
for
4 voting in favor of
3,
3 and
2,
2, yeah.
I think you need to say 4 of
Configuration.
5. 4 of 5
Mm.
voting in favor of configuration 3. So that they understand how many of us there were tonight.
Yeah.
good ad.
2 in favor.
I think we have to say that the wording of the bylaw, the only would not allow configuration 3. We have to say it.
So the word, with this is the specific, problem only. Like-
Yeah,
Daniel, is that fair enough? Does that make sense? Because you're the
Sure.
one that's,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Could this be tidier? I don't know. Maybe it couldn't.
Well, what might make it easier to read would be to just say full stop after the committee was divided on configurations 3 and 4. And then say what the vote was on those. I
Make
find
it-
that easier to read, I think.
Is that easier?
Yeah, that is.
For sure.
I don't think you need number on 4 or 5 number of voting.
4 of 5 voted or voting in favor of configuration 3.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's easier to read.
Okay, anything additional that people really want to have in here? I have to go back to gallery view to see if
Yep.
anyone.
Do
Okay,
we want to talk about the rationale that people were focused on the liability issue for the municipality? As well as safety?
I mean, that's why I didn't vote in favor of option 4 is because I felt that that it posed the highest potential liability for the municipality and the greatest safety concern.
So I would say that.
sure, I'm comfortable with adding that to number 4 if the other, okay, so those, Sarah, I guess we have to go back to you.
Oh, sorry.
Those who were not in favor
Okay.
of configuration 4 cited CI, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
CIT,
Yeah.
potential liability for the municipality and safety. As their concerns.
I think Richard Underhill, his concern with 3 was also with safety.
It is. And in listening to the discussion, I do agree with Brenda and
Brenda
others
Dunn.
that there's an increased risk with the perimeter fencing configuration 4, with someone entering the property through the perimeter gate. I'm looking at it from the perspective of there's really not any difference between configuration 3 and 4 to the extent that a door has been left open in the house and a child wanders out. When you layer on the additional risk of someone breaching the perimeter, I do agree that configuration 4 is just riskier.
It's,
Configuration 3, the onus is more on the homeowner to make sure that a door remains closed. Or I guess to have a self-closing door opening to the pool as well would be another option, but sliding glass door wouldn't allow for that.
You know,
Daniel, would the pool fencing bylaw require a self-latching door if that's the door that's to the pool or not? Is that not included?
Probably, it would probably have the same language. I would look at.
Except for actually that wouldn't work because the doors have to open outwards for safety reasons. So it's not gonna self-latch. Sorry, I just as I'm thinking of it for building code, egress doors have to be open
Right.
outwards, not inwards, right? Or
I mean, I
not?
was just gonna look at like what West Van requires, what they allow it, but how do they?
Did we want to address the height of the fence at all? Not to stretch things out anymore, but from 4 feet to 5 feet.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends if we want to prevent people who are breaking in, adults who are breaking in and versus preventing children from getting in.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to apply rules for public pools to private residences. It's like applying highway design standards to your driveway. I don't think it's right.
Does anyone else have Richard's views, concerns? I don't, but. Betty, are you, sorry, you didn't put your hand up saying yeah, okay. Richard, do you feel strongly enough that you want to add it to the?
No, I just bring it up because we haven't had any discussion about it, but I'm good with the existing bylaws that references the height of the fence. I don't, does it specifically mention it? I don't think it does. No.
Yeah, it says 4 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Richard. You.
I'm fine to not have any further discussion on the height of the fence.
Okay, great, thanks. Daniel, are you finding what West Van says or?
Yeah, I mean, theirs is a funny one. They essentially say the same as ours.
Okay, so it's-
They close with the fence as self-closing, self-latching gate.
okay, and that's, so that still doesn't say anything about the house. That's a
No,
door.
it doesn't specify how it's different. But they like specifically told us they would allow it, so we would just follow up with them and see what do they require in terms of to allow that configuration.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, I think if you can find out what the legal basis is of this requirement. I'm not, that whether it's for truant neighboring children or whether it's for your own children. I think that really helps the discussion.
Mhm. I haven't heard back. I've separately asked MIABC, for sort of rationale behind this and potential liability.
Okay, well,
So if
maybe,
they come with any big concerns, I would bring that to council as well and say this is, this is rationale behind it.
I apologize. I'm going to have to leave a little bit early. I sense our discussion is going to be winding down. I do
Yes.
apologize, but hopefully we've conducted the majority of our business tonight.
yes, I think so.
I'm still in North Van and I'd really like to catch the next ferry.
Oh,
So
don't rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Brenda.
Thanks, Brenda.
thank you,
Later,
everybody.
Okay, thanks. So everyone,
Bye.
you're okay with the wording as it is, Brenda?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
do we have to have an agreement on that, or
Do you want me to show it one last time?
do we have to have a motion that we're all happy, or
Oh,
we?
yeah.
Okay, a quick,
Do you want me to read it?
no, I don't think so. If everyone, can everyone read it, and then I'll just look at a show of hands. Does someone want to move that we accept this wording?
I'm
Richard D,
happy with it. Yeah.
seconder. Betty, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Great. Okay. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks, Brenda. Good
Thanks,
luck.
Brenda.
Thanks.
Oh. Okay, that was interesting. Anyway, the only other thing on the agenda is the strategic plan update, which I guess everybody's read and thought about, but we don't need to discuss it, I don't think, do we? Unless someone wants to.
No,
Okay,
it's just there for information. Yeah.
pardon? Just for info, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have what you need, Daniel?
Yep.
Okay.
That's great. And then I'll just say we don't have a next meeting. We don't have anything going to the next council meeting that is recommended for referral to the APC. And then council doesn't meet in August. So the earliest that we would have a referral is early September. So
Oh, good.
Get August off.
Yeah.
August off.
Okay, does someone want to move adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
Yeah, Betty, thanks. Second. One of the Richards. Okay, Richard D. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks, Betty. That was
Bye, guys.
great.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
Thank you.
bye.
Bye. Thank you.